encountered them at an entirely different part of the race course. Let's go to the pits. Gary Gerould.
Paul, it's interesting. We talked about that problem that many of the chassis had with the strengthening of the wishbone mounting at the start of the show. One of the offshoots of that change, with the extra support in there, it does slightly impact the handling of the car. Dick Simon says that's why Boesel picked up the push. They made one change on his pit stop. The car is better, but it's still pushing. He says with our second stop, we think we can get it perfect, and they look for Raul to then mount a bigger charge.
Watching Al Unser Jr. now, he runs in 4th place and is beginning to whittle away on 3rd place Mario Andretti.
Al Unser Jr. had this crowd on its feet yesterday. He was spectacular in the IROC race, managed to beat everybody, didn't win the championship, and now he lined up to do exactly what we saw Mario do, pulls out to pass Marco Greco, who also is having one of his better runs this afternoon.
But the pacing a little bit better here for little Al. He came up and countered the car and was just that quickly past him, while Mario had to wait a little bit.
And the feeling is that these Penske cars do not have the ultimate speed to beat a Lola in a straight fight or a Reynard. Unser Jr. is in championship winning mode. He wants reliability and just keep pounding out these laps, lap after lap.
Well, Jr. was closing on Mario, but in the past couple of laps, despite the fact that he had a clean pass on Greco, he's actually fallen back about 0.7 of a second. So Al Unser Jr. still has some work to do. Let's go pit side and Jan again.
Well, Jimmy Vasser has gotten out of the car, and Jimmy, you ran to the top 10, and we saw that smoke. What put you out?
Well, we thought we had a tire going down right rear. I was out there and started getting a little loose, like I wanted to swap ends, and so we came in for a tire change, and turns out it was something in the suspension, or probably a wheel bearing or something.
So that was 2 scary moments for you here this weekend.
Well, that's racing, you know. You just got to get back in there, and you gotta trust your car. But when things happen like that, you know, it makes you take a deep breath, and you know, and just thank the Lord that you don't hit the fence, because it's pretty fast around here.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
While we were listening to Jimmy Vasser, the fastest lap in the race has been set. Michael Andretti at 227.8 miles an hour as we watch Jacques Villeneuve as he continues to fly up through this field and sits now in 5th.
And don't underestimate what Jimmy Vasser said. He takes a deep breath and thanks the Lord that he made it. That gives you an idea just how knife edge and finger tingling it is to run on the ragged edge here at these speeds at Michigan.
58 laps complete by the leader, Michael Andretti. He has a 9-second lead over 2nd place, Raul Boesel. Mario Andretti in his last 500-mile race is still very much in the fight. Well, some historic moments coming at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brickyard pole qualifying at Indy will witness more than 82 entrants at the first ever NASCAR Brickyard 400. ESPN's Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, and Benny Parsons will be hosting qualifying Thursday and Friday live beginning at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're at the Marlboro 500 at Michigan. You ride with the leader, Michael Andretti, as he reels off lap after lap at better than 228 miles an hour. He has a 13-second lead over 2nd place, Raul Boesel. The early leader was Nigel Mansell, who had a problem with his throttle system, actually a butterfly in the engine that stuck the engine wide open at top revs and took him out of the race. Robbie Gordon was up in the fight. He had a right front tire blow. He got it back to the pits. They changed the tire, did some work on the car, and he is back in the race, though not yet in the fight. Right now, it's Raul Boesel, who has been battling all day, sitting in 2nd place, and Mario Andretti is having a great day running in 3rd.
And great pictures here as we look over Michael Andretti's shoulder. Look at his hand. Pushes with his right and pulls down with his left. How fast is Michael running? He just set fastest lap of the race at 228.4, which is almost 3 miles an hour quicker than Boesel and Mario is running at this particular time. So Michael in control with sheer speed.
Pit stops do any time now. The Gallus team for Adrian Fernandez is already begun to lay out their equipment, as there's Richard Buck, the crew chief for Al Unser Jr., and little Al is in from 4th place, Gary Gerould.
Indeed he is. The man who's had such has won one time here at Michigan in 500-mile competition, getting the full treatment. The car's been working beautifully. No changes, just full fuel and fresh rubber. Now he's rolling, Paul, 13.5 seconds.
Emphasis on the word fresh rubber. Those look like brand new tires.
They were indeed brand new tires as Mario comes down.
Third place, Mario Andretti. He's been battling most of the day with Raul Boesel. He rolls into the pits and then rolls past. And look, with Fernandez in trouble. He came out, he had a fuel spill, a splash, and a bit of a fire. Fernandez, who was running so well, in as high as 5th place. They got a lot of water on him right away. Now, water will dilute the alcohol fuel, but there's still more trouble burning in there. Let's not forget that they had a full pit fire here in the early years. We're under yellow on the course. And Michael Andretti against the wall. Michael Andretti grabs the wall. So in just a few seconds, we told you there are surprises that lurk in these high banks. Look at the camera. It's now pointed down and to the side on Michael Andretti's car. So Adrian Fernandez with a fire on his car in the pits. They go yellow, though, for Michael Andretti, who catches the wall. And Michael Andretti's crew was sitting there waiting for him. Michael climbs over the wall, apparently unhurt, hopefully so. There's a safety crew right there. And some of the crew members from the Gallus team, when the fuel splashed, let's see what happened, Derek. There's Michael.
He's in a traffic jam. This is turn 1. He goes into 1. All is clear. Remember, the fastest car on the racetrack. He gets up behind, and then something. That was most unusual. We
It's
saw
like he was up behind Paul Tracy and just suddenly bobbled. Could it be the turbulence back there?
I don't think it would happen that fast. Whatever it was, the fastest man in the race in total control. All you can see here, what happened?
Car, the hose just ripped off at the nozzle. Well, we don't know if that happened before or after. Mario Andretti's in the pits. Look at all the water from the Fernandez situation.
We've seen Mario do a 180 trying to exit the pits in the past on dry pavement. Now you better take it real slowly.
I think he went to the truck.
Almost too slowly.
Well, under yellow, no need to hurry. You might as well be careful. Down in Adrian Fernandez's pit, Gary Gerould.
Rick Gallus, unfortunately, you're no stranger. I remember Cleveland a few years ago, and your crew went through this. Can you give us a quick assessment here? Have you accounted for everybody? Are we all right?
Yeah, we're okay, I think, Gary. So that's the main thing. We're okay. And the fire people did a really good job, and I'm real happy, and I appreciate what they did to take care of my guys. And I don't know exactly what happened, but fortunately, no one got hurt.
Now, we see the nozzle was sticking out of the side of the fuel cell there of the car. Did everything just disengage? Do you have any idea?
No, we pulled out too early, and I don't know really what happened, why we did it, but we weren't through fueling.
Well, the important thing, obviously, we're happy to hear everybody's okay. Thanks.
I just want to thank the fire people.
Absolutely. They did an incredible job, Paul. I mean, it was amazing.
The fire crews have always been courageous here. Here is Michael Andretti's situation, Derek.
Now we know he's in traffic. That's Paul Tracy down to the inside. Goes into 1. Well. We can see. Whoa. I think he locks that right front and just destroys our onboard camera. Thankfully, Michael wasn't hurt, but the fastest car in the racetrack now gets grabbed by the monster behind these concrete walls.
Looked like the closure just was too fast. Michael Andretti brushed the brakes, took him up to the wall. Eddie Cheever, replacing Brian Herta, driving for A.J. Foyt, has rolled to a stop. We are still under yellow, though, from Michael Andretti's accident. And Raul Boesel is the leader of the race under yellow. Michael Andretti hitches a ride back on one of the IndyCar safety trucks as they clean up under yellow here. So there's been some incidents not only here, but in Formula One today at the German Grand Prix. Let's go to Bob Varsha.
Thank you, Paul. The German Grand Prix at the Hockenheim Ring began in controversy with 26 cars when the green light flashed. But at the green light, there was chaos at the back of the field and at the front. Watch the red and white car of Mika Hakkinen as he rushes up the left side of the track, tags wheels with another car, and flies off the racetrack into the tire wall. The Finn came into the race with a suspended one-race ban for aggressive driving at the most recent event in Great Britain. And as a result of this event, he is going to find himself in front of officials once again with a possible one-race suspension coming. 11 of the 26 cars taken out in that first corner shunt. The other dramatic moment of the race, when the fuel hose did not connect to Jos Verstappen's Benetton properly, and the splash of fuel led to the ultimate nightmare, a pit fire that sent 4 mechanics and driver Verstappen to the hospital for checkups, but all 4 apparently unhurt. Nevertheless, a very, very scary moment. Unlike Indy cars, Formula One cars are refueled under pressure, and this is what happens when that fuel hose does not connect properly. The size of the fireball, a testament to the volatility of Formula One fuel, an absolute miracle that no one in the crowded Formula One pit lane was seriously hurt. On the racetrack, the star of the show was Gerhard Berger. The Austrian put his Ferrari on pole and led wire to wire, ending a non-winning streak for Ferrari that goes all the way back to 1990. Back to you, Paul.
Of course, one of the key differences between Formula One refueling and their use of their gasoline and IndyCar refueling is they are pressurized. In Formula One, this is gravity flow feed of methanol fuel in IndyCar racing. The methanol fuel has a much higher flash point, though obviously it can catch fire. Its downside is that it's sometimes very difficult to see where the fire is actually burning. But perhaps the best information is that you can do that. You can throw water on it, it dilutes methanol and puts the fire out. But you see the problem there. One of the crew members had to say, hey, this guy's on fire, even though you can't see the flames.
The international accepted IndyCar way of saying I'm on fire is to pat your chest with your hands. I'm not sure Fernandez has ever seen that, or certainly ever had to do it before. But one of the real fears, look at the signage on the pit wall just melted. One of the real fears for a driver is fire and mechanical failure. We have seen both with Mansell and now the fire with Fernandez.
Gary Gerald, you have an update on Fernandez's fire?
Yeah, in a follow-up, Paul, checking with Rick Gallis and the other members of the team, the safety crew took Adrian Fernandez, the driver, who told me personally that he was fine, no problem, in for a routine check. And the fueler, Wayne Selman, also was complaining of some minor discomfort around his hip, and they were going to take him in and check on him. So one crew member, Selman, the fueler, not believed to be any type of a serious injury, to the safety center. Let's go to Jan.
Well, Gary, talking about fuel, Eddie Cheever ran out of fuel. That's why we saw him stopped. He's now back in the pits. They tried to fire it, and when they went to fire it, they realized they had a battery problem. So now they have changed the battery, which of course fires the electronics in these things. Soon, Eddie Cheever hopefully will be underway in the Copenhagen A.J. Foyt entry.
Pulling a lot of black boxes off the right side pod of that car for A.J. Foyt, who, by the way, is going to try and qualify for the Brickyard this week. You'll see coverage here on ESPN. We'll be back with more of the Marlboro 5. This track is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. Eddie Cheever's car being pushed back toward the garage area. Apparently that's not going to be a fix on that car. On board Robbie Gordon, who is still a lap down from the leader of the race, Raul Boesel. But how about this for a top of the order? Boesel, Villeneuve, Al Unser Jr., first, second, and third. Mario Andretti is fourth. Emerson Fittipaldi is fifth. The Penske cars with a less than spectacular qualifying situation here, but 2 of them are up and running in the top 5. But is it the first win for Raul Boesel today? Imagine he hopes so. 74 laps of the 250 lap scheduled distance.